I'm thrilled to be here today to talk about something that feels both revolutionary and deeply human, how artificial intelligence can transform the creative industries. We often hear about AI as tools for solving hard problems, optimizing supply chains, diagnosing illness, predicting market trends, and so on. AI is also helping us to dream better. It's not just a tool for utilitarian applications, but also a medium for expression, storytelling, and selfhood. It's well known that AI is not just one thing. It spans symbolic approaches, sometimes affectionately called good old-fashioned AI, to deep learning models trained on massive data sets. Yet consider this. Back in 2003, the National Academies of Sciences wrote that creativity, better recipes, not just more cooking, is key to innovation. And today, AI systems give us ingredients for creating radically new recipes in music, in games, virtual spaces, and digital storytelling. Entertainment, after all, isn't just about distraction, it's about connection, meaning, and identity. And AI can help us to reshape those in ways that are powerful and sometimes surprising. So today I want to take you beyond the headlines and hype to show how AI can build something differently entirely. Let's begin with the foundation I've been building here at MIT. The lab and studio I direct, the MIT Center for Advanced Virtuality, develops systems that integrate AI with cultural and expressive goals. For example, we've done work ranging from AI-powered museum exhibits to interactive narratives addressing social justice, to Emmy-winning deepfake education content addressing the threats and promises of generative AI. We've done work on humanizing the other in the face of war in collaboration with war photojournalist Karim Ben Khalifa, who travels to many of the major war regions to help engender empathy in the face of global conflict. So here's what I'm going to do for today. I'm going to introduce two terms that capture for me what is important about AI for the arts and creativity. These terms are subjective computing and expressive AI. Then I'm going to tell you about four of the most important topics to me when it comes to this field. They are narrative, that is storytelling using the computer, virtual identity, the virtual selves and characters that inhabit these stories, generativity, how AI can be used creatively and improvisationally to inhabit these stories, can be used creatively and improvisationally by humans, and finally, ethical design, which must undergird it all. So the two ideas I mentioned that are central to this shift, subjective computing and expressive AI, I'll begin with subjective computing. It's a concept from my book, Phantasmal Media, that I've developed to recognize that all technology is filtered through our perceptions, our values, and our lived experiences. It's not about objectivity, it's about how systems feel to us, how they spark the imagination, and how they're interpreted. The second is expressive AI. As Michael Matthias, who coined the term, put it, expressive AI views a system as performance. The AI system becomes a messenger for the author's vision. Like a producer ensuring that it's executed effectively and powerfully, it's not about building isolated intelligences, it's about performance, about building systems that can express ideas and convey emotion. So let me tell you a quick story that really drove this home for me. I once asked a large language model to complete a complex organizational task, formatting and integrating several highly technical papers my lab published. Yet instead of completing the task, it replied with, yes, the system actually rickrolled me. So I was pretty surprised when this happened. I laughed after this happened, but I thought after a moment, in its failure to respond correctly, the system actually did something expressive. It dodged the question with cultural play. And in a way, a slightly infuriating way, it reminded me that meaning isn't always in the answer. Sometimes it's in the interaction. Now let's discuss the first of the most important topics to me when it comes to this field, narrative. As my friend The late and former MIT AI Lab director, Patrick Winston, often said, "We think in stories." It's how we organize information, make decisions, and even define ourselves. AI systems can help us to learn to understand and generate narratives that are personalized, evolving, and responsive. In games, for instance, this means characters that remember your choices, that infer your motivations, and that create the story with you. In museums, it means interactive exhibits that shift based upon your interest. In productivity, it means creating apps that could frame your goals as an unfolding journey, making your work feel like a path to something better. And in my lab, we develop interactive narrative technologies, AI systems that deliver meaning through story. In one project, we memorialized the Liberian Civil War from multiple perspectives in alignment with truth and reconciliation work. The system used analogical reasoning and a conceptual blending model from cognitive science to generate multimedia content and poetic text, focused on truth and reconciliation and interactive storytelling. Now let's talk about the second of these 4 ideas that I'll discuss, virtual identity, the digital selves that we craft in games, social media, and virtual worlds. I coined the term the avatar dream to describe the desire to become whoever or whatever we want to be using the computer. But I argue that we need to reimagine that dream. Changing your appearance isn't enough. We need avatars and agents that reflect personality, emotion, and social context. With AI, we can build identities that adapt, that are expressive and relational, and not just decorative. These are actors in our narrative systems. They're how we live through stories. So for instance, in one system that we built called Breakbeat Narratives for the Universal Hip Hop Museum in collaboration with Microsoft Research, the system co-authors the narrative with the visitor. The system personalizes a story of hip hop history based upon their preferences for lyrics as well as their preferences for genres. These chatbot characters here that we invented with a group called Black Kirby are Afrofuturist characters called the Elementals, like the Celestials by Marvel Comics, but named after the 5 essences of hip hop. The playlists are then generated algorithmically along with the story. That is, if you're interested in the role of women in hip hop, you can get a feminist history of hip hop. And if you happen to like country and western and bluegrass music, you get a QR code at the very end with a Spotify playlist that has all hip hop music that samples from those genres. Now, the third most important area that I'll talk about today is generativity. This refers to systems like language models, image generators, and music composers. These are systems that can create dialogue, art, and even virtual worlds. But the most exciting use is improvisational. I wrote an op-ed for The Guardian that we should see AI systems not just as for automation, but as creative partners, like jazz musicians riffing together within a songwriter's framework. Humans and machines can collaborate. One might sketch the arc, the other adds the texture. Together, they can explore something new. This is already happening. AI systems help to generate conceptual art, they can draft scripts with us, and even procedurally generate levels within games. It's not about replacement for me, it's about the new possibilities. And the fourth and final topic for today is that, of course, we must build these systems responsibly. There are well-known questions such as, how do we ensure transparency? How do we prevent bias? How can we make sure that the output and the operation is always humanly intelligible? But there are also important questions emerging, such as, how can we ensure data sovereignty for AI-generated content, such as based in cultural repositories by Indigenous groups, historically underrepresented groups, or the Global South? These aren't afterthoughts. They're design principles. If we want AI systems that empower human creativity, it must be accountable, equitable, and transparent. And it's not just inclusion. It's about working with and including these communities. Indigenous scholars, practitioners, and so forth are not just shaping the questions, not just answering them. So I'm the co-investigator on a $22.8 million Canadian grant right now that is focused on expanding AI through Indigenous knowledge systems. The computer scientists and practitioners in this work are from the Indigenous communities themselves. Partners include also leaders, artists, engineers, and we're all working to embed relationality, sovereignty, and land-based ethics into AI system design. This builds upon other work, such as going back to 2019 when we held an Indigenous Protocols and AI workshop in Hawaii. So what's the takeaway? AI in the arts and entertainment isn't just about solving problems. It's about crafting experiences. It's about systems that engage us, surprise us, reflect us. It's about subjective computing, about working with technology that interprets and creates meaning improvisationally with us. So let's build AI systems that play supporting roles, not dominating roles. Let's keep humans at the center of the story, and let's dream bigger together. Thank you.